Hello, guys, and welcome. I was gonna say welcome back, but we're new. We're renamed. We're refocused. We're broadening our horizons beyond just health and wellness to all the things. So,
Hmm.
welcome to Twin Monty.
Yes,
I'm happy to be back. It's been a minute. Life has been lifing, and we missed you guys. So we
it
were
was
like,
long overdue for sure.
we're gonna come back. And I
Yes.
wanted our first episode to be something that I have personally been dealing with, and I think we've all dealt with, um, especially being in this sphere. I can't talk sphere. I can't say it. Um, this circle of influencers and podcasters and content creators of like. I don't know if you've ever experienced like telling anyone that you're like a podcaster or telling anyone that you create content, you kind of get that look that,
Yeah.
oh, you're one of those like, oh, well, social media is not a real job. Like,
Yes, that's what I was gonna
what are you
say.
gonna do? What are you gonna have a career like other than YouTube? And what people just don't understand, like, do you know how much some YouTubers make? And if you do it
Yeah.
the smart way is to create the following, create the stuff, and then build businesses on the side, right? You start to
Right.
create um, a clothing line or perfume or makeup or something, and you piggyback off of the success of the YouTube to create multiple streams of income from other places. So that if the YouTube does pause or stop or it's not as popular anymore or what have you, um, you have the other things still
Right.
invest and whatnot. So it just got me to thinking, like, especially our generation, the millennials right now are kind of we're the big kind of out there generation, and then you have Gen Z who have been kind of the pioneers of really like taking social media, YouTube, and like running with it.
Hmm.
Podcasting, all that stuff. They have really been the generation of like work smarter, not harder.
Hmm.
And I kind of admire it about it because, like, I was telling you the other day, my uncle, not my uncle, my grandfather died at 59 years old. And he was the typical boomer, like, worked 6 days a week, 14-hour days. Even on his day off on Sunday, he was like up on the roof, tiling the roof. He was spraying down the patio. He was mowing the lawn. He was doing all things. Like, he always made you feel really lazy because he never sat down. And God forbid you wanted to rest and then he was on the roof. You're like, well, damn, I gotta do something. And
Yeah.
but it put him into an early grave. He had a heart attack at 59. So it's like, is it really that mentality that's kind of been passed down from our parents to us, the boomers, the
Mhm.
Gen Xers, passing it on to the millennials?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's really a healthy mentality to have? Like, is there a middle ground between like work yourself into the grave and like, but also not be lazy, like
I think that's so difficult because my grandma's the same way. She's now 88. God rest your grandpa. So honestly, because that is so young, let me just say that. But my grandma's 88. And she's somebody who I admired, who I looked up to, who I was like, I'm going to be just like her. And I thought I had to work, 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 stay busy, 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 busy. Um, I thought that having multiple jobs was where it was at. I was being praised for being, oh, you just work so much. And like, even now, she says that to me, like, oh, you just work so much. And that's supposed to be like a good thing. But I feel like, we're learning now how important it actually is to like rest and not keep moving, moving. Yeah, it's not going to stay stagnant either. But I don't think that being busy, staying busy, always doing something is good for you. I do think that there is such a thing called rest, and you do have to rest. And even if you want to get biblical for a second, they say have a day of rest. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that rest is important. Like my thing that I always used to preach was like, we're not robots. We talked about this earlier, how I like to give a little bit of research. So I pulled up a topic, and this is from the Cleveland Clinic. And it does say overworking causes severe physical and mental health issues, including a 33% higher risk for stroke, 13% higher risk for heart disease, chronic fatigue, and burnout. Often leads to a cognitive decline, weakened immunity, which if you're not resting, your immune system's going to be low, right? Depression, anxiety, and strained relationships, constant exhaustion, irritability, and reduced productivity. So back to what you were saying, I think that they were prided on like the more you did. And honestly, I do think that this obviously doesn't fit for everybody. I do think there are those people that can do that, but like you said, will work themselves to death. But on another note, I think that there's more to life than that. And I do think you have to have some kind of balance, work
Because
life
it's like, what
balance.
are you looking back on? You're just looking
Right.
back on 50 years of being at the same job. And like, kudos to you for doing that. I'm not negating the dedication and the hard work and providing for your family. Like, those
Yeah.
are very noble things. You're putting your body and life on the line to provide. That's an amazing thing. But at the same time, like, I can guarantee most of those people, like, if you were to pass, would rather have you here and struggle financially than have you gone and they got cut a check from the
Yes.
insurance company or whatever. Like,
Yes.
I would a million
Yes.
times rather have my grandpa here than my grandma having got the like workers' comp check that gave her money to like redo her house. But it's like we would much rather just have him here and have the same house. Like,
Exactly. And I work with the geriatric population, right? We did this study, like, there's a study done. I'll say that. Like, we redid a study with our people, the ones that could answer. And at the end of the day, the things that people say is, oh, they don't say, I wish I worked more. I wish I worked harder. I wish I worked more jobs. They don't say things like that. It's, I wish I had more time with my family. I wish I would have did this. And I think for you and I being younger, and what an amazing, I'm just going to say blessing it is to realize like that's not what's important for us. We're realizing what's important is being able to be with our children, really having that balance, that work life balance, the multiple streams of income, but still be present with your children. At the end of the day, I think that's way more important than how much money you make or how much you're working.
and that's part of the reason why, like, for those who don't know, I'll be gone for like almost 2 weeks at the end of April. I'll be in the Philippines. And like when this trip came up, there was like the logical part of my brain that's like, oh, like the money you could put somewhere else, you could pay off debt, you could do this, you could do that, like
Mm-hmm.
put this towards a bill, put something nice in the house or so, whatever. And I was like, but when am I going to get another chance to go to the
Yeah.
Philippines?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and the way everything worked out was just so perfect. Sometimes, like I really feel like it was meant to be, but I I've been thinking a lot about stuff like that. And it just made me feel like when I look back, am I going to remember? And I was thinking about people like what you were talking about, like everyone talks about, oh, I wished I had done more. I wish I had taken this opportunity. I wish I had done this. You
Absolutely.
never hear anybody say, I wish I made more money. I
Yeah.
wish I had 20 jobs. I wish,
Yeah.
like everyone always just regrets having worked so hard and they got all these promotions and they got all these things and they missed out on everything.
Yes. Yes.
And you never know how much time you got left. Like I was telling my followers from my other channel that a good friend of ours lost his battle with alcoholism. He tried to detox on his own and his body just couldn't handle it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he was 40, in his mid 40s, 45, I think,
Oh my
late mid to
gosh.
late 40s. And, his daughters are in their first like years of college and they're really struggling with it. But it's like, but you just don't know. Like, you're not, no one's
No.
thinking that they're passing away at 45, like, so you
No.
really have to, I'm not saying live every day like in the wind and just be throwing money wherever, like
Right,
obviously
right,
still
right.
be responsible within a reason. But when opportunities present themselves and when you're trying to decide the course of action for your life, like maybe it's a little take a few risks here and there. You don't have to take the big
Right.
ones. I'm not saying gamble your life savings, but like go on a trip, try a new job. At least try and find something that you semi enjoy doing every day. Because like
Exactly.
if you're completely
Mhm.
miserable every day at work, like what's the point? What are you
Yeah, no,
looking back on?
absolutely.
What memories are you leaving?
Absolutely. Yes. And like to bring it back full circle, like I said, I looked up to my grandma. So I've always had, the multiple jobs. I worked while going to school um, throughout all of my schooling up until the last part of nursing. But I really like was just like, oh yeah, this is what I got to do. But when I look back at it now, my oldest just turned 28, and honestly, I really think like, oh man, I wish that I had more time when she was younger because I have the younger kids too, and what a blessing it is to just be able to be with them, be present more because I actually put. I'll be honest, like I had that mentality, so I really thought that, oh, this is the meaning. Like this, you're important if you have all these jobs. Like,
All these
I,
degrees.
yes, yes, I really thought like that was where it's at. But like where I really needed to be the most was be a mom and be home. I feel like not the most, I wouldn't say that like the most, but I really kind of most times I put those things in front of being a mother. And I'll admit that because that's how I was raised. That's what I was taught. That's what I was seeing.
And in front
Now
of yourself. Like you're
and in front of
pouring, how
myself.
many times do we pour from an empty cup especially as
Yes.
moms?
Yes. That is such a good point because you were talking about your friend. Um, and I think having a health scare like I did, it's really opened my eyes up to what actually is important, what actually does matter. Like you said, I really don't think that when it's that time, if you're faced with something that you're just going to be like, man, I really should have I should have worked more hours. Like I really should have worked because I can't sit there and say that. Like I've worked a lot and I've worked hard, but I'm like I can't I'm not going to sit there and say that. And I don't sit there and say that now. Um and I think too like obviously things have changed. Obviously there's more technology, there's more social media, there's more platforms. Um and people do say, "Oh, you do content creating?" Oh, you get that eye roll. However, I'm going to give you a little fun
Everyone
fact
has a
here.
podcast now.
No, or some kind of social media platform. However, it does say here from the University of West Florida that I'll skip all of that. Salaries range with social media from 30,000 to over $100,000, with your median around 69,000. To me, that it says showing high demand, and I agree with that because if you can make that
That's
much,
the
I mean that's
same
pretty good.
median. I'm going to tell you this as a first year law student. That's the same median as a public defender.
Wow, wow, wow,
So you're talking straight out of 3 years of law school, you're still making the same amount.
wow. Now you put that in perspective, and we didn't even talk about this before I pulled that up. So I was just, like I was trying to give a little bit of information and facts why we're doing these. And she had no idea I was going to say that. So that is crazy. And if y'all know
Yeah.
her, she's been on that law school. I was going to say
Yeah.
struggle bus.
It is a struggle bus. It is. And with my life and everything too has made the struggle bus even more struggling. Like I'm riding on the rims right now, but we're still
Yes, but that's what we talked about too, was your mindset with this. Do you want to share some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was struggling with it. I did an episode of my Let's Chat when I first started school, and I was like, man, like so I don't know if anyone's ever else has been in this position, but like when you're thinking about doing something versus when you're actually starting to do it can be
Hmm.
two very different mindsets. Like I
Hmm.
really enjoyed law through my associate's degree, through my bachelor's, like I was good at it. I do understand it pretty easily, thankfully. Like I click onto the topics and the stuff pretty well. But where I was finding the struggle was like you actually get into law school and you start meeting a lot of these lawyers, and 80% of them seem miserable.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weirdly eye-opening, like with all these people being like, oh, well, the grind of law school is going to prepare you for the grind of being a lawyer. Like, it's not the same. You're not going to have like
Wow.
it's not going to be as stressful. You're not going to be learning this huge amount of stuff. You'll have like a specialized part of your practice, right? You'll be focusing on one area of law versus learning all of it.
Yeah.
But essentially, the same mentality, the workload, the stuff, that's all going to pretty much remain the same.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you're essentially marketing yourself at all times because you, as a lawyer, your business is yourself.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it just like it just made me think. And I'm still going to finish law school. I'm still going to do it. Like whether or not I end up practicing, we'll see. Because I do enjoy the study of law, but I don't enjoy the mentality of just like work, 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 work. Never seeing my kids. I mean, I was gone all day. Then I'd have to read all night. On the weekends, I'm reading or writing a paper or doing something. Like I wasn't seeing anybody. My relationships were getting strained. I was fighting with people. Like Marcus even said, like I was like super angry. Like my personality had just like
Yes.
180 because I was
Wow.
so stressed and trying to do all of the things. Now, to be fair, had I been a normal human being and done law school then, kids, probably a lot easier. Trying to have children and a household and maintain a home and do the doctor's appointments and this and that while being gone all day long during the week, like it was just a lot to try and manage. And I don't have any help. So I don't really have the strong family support and stuff that like a lot of people have. And a lot of these other kids I'm going to school with are in their young 20s, don't
Yeah.
have children yet. Most of them come from decently well off or at least well put together families. So it's like there's not very many of them that are having the same struggle as I am or having to do the same stuff as me. So it just made me kind of start to really evaluate like, did I really want the job or did I just want the money? Was it the money of being a lawyer that really attracted me to being a lawyer? And the fact that I'm just kind of like naturally good at understanding law and understanding the concepts, but do I really want the job?
Or was it the recognition too when we talk about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like
Having
that
the degrees on the
pride.
wall, being able to say I'm a lawyer.
Yes, yes. And because I mean, when you were talking about that, like about what the other lawyers were saying, we just met with our attorney, like my grandma and I a couple weeks ago, and I think she said that she works like I don't even know if that's even possible. I want to say like 60 hours a week. I mean, yeah, a week. I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. But yeah, it does. I think I want to say 60. She might have even said more than that. But she's like, we were talking about being caregiver of somebody else. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I work 60 hours a week. So, I mean, that's a lot. Like your average is supposed to be 40, supposedly. However, I think now people are finding that they're working more because of just trying to keep up with everything. But I also
Yeah,
wanted to
the
talk about
income doesn't match with the price of what everything
now
costs
with the
nowadays.
price of your health. In addition to that, like I wanted to come circle like back with you, you know, talking about all of the sacrifices you were making in order to obtain this. Like you started having headaches. On here, it does talk about that tension headaches, backaches, muscle pain. You know, I think
Yeah,
that you have to think too now, what is the price of your health? Like, was it worth it? Like looking at our messages this morning,
I was struggle
and
bussing. Yeah,
yeah, and you're talking about you're getting like migraines, and then of course, then here's that too, because now you're getting migraines, you're not feeling good, you're going to be irritable, you're going to be more tired. Like your body, I feel like was telling you, okay, yeah, like I think I need a minute, like I need a break, even though your mind and how you grew up and things that you were told and taught was like, nope, keep going, keep going, keep going. If you quit, how would they look at me? How will my family see me? All these things. But it's
How will
like,
I
well,
see me? So
how will you see yourself?
I
Yeah.
think a big part of that is me too. And I was discussing this with a couple of my friends because I come from a family, I've talked about before, like
Mhm.
my family dealt with a lot of substance abuse and there was a lot of, I come from generation after generation of paycheck to paycheck living, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
my family is very they can give up when things get rough. Like they're not very good with adversity. And so I think subconsciously, I have a really hard time quitting with stuff, even when I
Absolutely.
know I'm unhappy,
Yeah.
even when I know it's like physically doing things to me, it's draining my health, whatever. I have a hard time giving up on stuff because everyone around me was like, I don't want to say quitters, but like, like essentially everyone else around me always gave up. So it's
Right.
like I cling on even when something isn't good for me. And whether that be jobs, relationships, friends, whatever, like I cling on to stuff
Yes.
way longer than it's healthy for me to because I don't want to give up on people. I don't want to give up on myself. I don't want to give up on this
Yes.
person who I think I'm supposed to be because I was looked
Yes.
down upon so much growing up. Like friends' parents would meet my mom, and then they weren't allowed to come back to my house because they thought my mom was on drugs, which sometimes she was, sometimes she wasn't. But
Oh, goodness.
it was just like it created, if law school has taught me anything, it's how much of my childhood trauma I really did take into my adulthood. Like I thought I made it out pretty unscathed. Um, and I did as far as the big stuff. I've never been arrested. I've never done any drugs. I've never done anything like that. Um, but I took a lot more trauma than I realized into my adulthood with me. And law school really started to lay that out for me. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, maybe one of my counselors, like, very politely kind of hinted that I might need therapy. And she did it like the nicest way she possibly could. And at first I was like really offended by it. But like looking back a couple months later, now I'm like, yeah, she's probably
Yeah. Yeah. And that's wild too. And I think like we were talking about this too. Like you mentioned this part about having joy. And I think that I have a friend, bless her. Like she has just been so supportive, but like what is going to bring you joy when you were talking about filling your cup? You know, what exactly is going to bring you joy? Because then that's going to overflow to other areas of your life. You weren't finding like, hey, this is not bringing me joy right now. It was. Now it's kind of not like, and that's okay. But what ultimately does bring you joy? And honestly, thanks to that friend, like she has taught me like everything really is just happening for you. It's not happening to you. So like your law school experience and then finding, oh shoot, maybe I do need a little bit of therapy to get, maybe I am finding because I think a lot of times too, this word has been used so much, but we can disassociate like that those feelings that you thought, oh no, that doesn't affect me. This isn't affecting me. Like, I'm not affected by this at all. I'm not doing A, B, C, or D, so I'm good. But then you're like, oh shoot,
like,
maybe
oh
I'm
yeah,
not.
but I hang on to stuff that I should probably let go of. Not in like a hoarder
Yes.
way, but like friendships that are unhealthy for me. Like I will give
Yes.
people way more chances than they deserve. Like,
Sadly.
and it
Sadly.
just I realized about myself. I was like, damn, like I'm really holding on to something that like I'm not enjoying. And so I didn't quit law school. I just took a leave of absence.
Which is okay.
I'll be going
Yeah.
back next spring, but
Yeah.
it gives me the time to like rest for the first time in years. I mean, for the last
Yes.
4 years I've been in school back to back to back to back, full time. So I did all of my degrees kind of like in a row. So
Yeah.
maybe my body was telling me to take a break. Take a little
Yes.
break.
Yes. And that is okay. 100%. I mean, if, we're not saying that this isn't going to relate to everybody, but there might be that person's like, oh, yeah, I mean, do what brings you joy. Listen to your body first and foremost. Sometimes people, like you said, Marcus, notice things, will notice it before you when you're just like, I'm good because we're used to that, right? We're used to keep pushing. We're used to just keep going, 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 going. until something or somebody is like, yeah, no, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing or what's best for you. I had a chaplain tell me that. I kept saying to him, he's like, what is really going on? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to do the right thing. I just kept telling him that I'm just trying to do the right thing. And he told me what's right is not what's always best for you. So what could have been right for your grandpa, my grandma, other people is what's not what's best for us. And so to know that there is other options, especially in this day and age, that works. We've seen it work for so many other people right now. Um, to know that we have that for us too is like amazing, you know. And I think that's what we're really wanting to maybe say here is like
Yeah.
we're moving into something else. Things change. Time is our most valuable asset, but something that's inevitable is change. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're changing it. We're flipping the script here.
Yeah, I mean, it just made me realize it brought up kind of this conversation today of like maybe some of the things we're taught, and you do this kind of with every generation. You realize that there are some things that your parents did with you that
Mhm.
were good, and there's some things that your parents did that were kind of not good, and you want to change that when it comes to raising your children. And I
Yes.
think that comes with every aspect of life. It really like you realize that there are things that need to change, and it can be a little hard. Like we can be a little hesitant for change. Change is rough, but
Yes.
I think in today's day and age, social media is a huge job. I mean, there's marketing, there's so many editing, there's so many things that go into it
Oh my
nowadays. It's
gosh.
such a
Yes.
skill that if you can really hone in on it, you can make a decent living out of it. And I'm a creative person, and I think I was struggling with like not being able to get my creativity out. Um, I was the girl with the pink and blue hair before pink and blue hair was cool, like, and law, anyone that's seen a lawyer, like law is very structured. Like you look a certain way, you act a certain way, your resume, everyone's resumes look the same. Like
Hmm.
everything is. And
Yeah.
so for me, like that's different. Like, I've always kind of had a very peppy, outgoing, kind of personality. And learning to deal with kind of all that structure has been a little more rough than I ever anticipated, but not in a bad way. Like it's something I can adjust to. It'll definitely be a good skill to have. I may practice, I may not. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to see it through. But I'm going to see it through with balance, and I'm not going to be like pressuring myself to um be someone other than I'm not. I think in my mind from a very young age, I had an idea of who I was supposed to be. Like I need to be this kind of person so that people don't look down on me anymore.
Hmm.
And I've had to really wrestle with like you don't have to be this thing. Like some people are just going to respect you and some people aren't. You can't control the family you were born into. You can't control your circumstances sometimes, but you can control what you do with it. And I had to talk to the little Presley inside me and be like, you don't have to be like the president, okay? Like, it's okay
Yes.
to choose a lower bar. It doesn't make you any less than.
Amen. Yeah. And I think that like I had to learn because we've been in like what do you want to say, social media, network marketing. And network marketing, I think, taught me for sure, because that's how we met, was like you're not gonna be for everybody and you're not for everybody. Um, I think that's the hardest. I think that was one of the hardest lessons that I learned through network marketing. But there was always that like, oh, that was rough.
I heard
At
someone
times.
say like social media is like a really big high school.
Yes, like people can
It-
be so mean. Like,
like
why? For
you're
what?
dealing with high school all over again. The mean girls who are just mean to be mean, like people who are just talking to talk. The only thing that's different now is people don't have to back up their words, right? Like before, if you were talking trash to someone, then you get might be some repercussions to those actions, but now you can say whatever you want behind a screen and have some fake username and no one knows who you are. And so
Yeah.
people are a lot more bold.
Yes.
But
Hide behind the screen. But
you're
for what?
never
Yeah.
you're never going to be able to make everyone happy. You're never going to be able to please everybody. You have to do what's in your heart, no matter what that is.
Yeah.
Um, and I truly think there's a way to make money off of just about everything nowadays, like
Absolutely.
writing, especially nowadays. Like look at the way that book talk has taken off on TikTok and stuff. The romance genre is like as high as it's ever been. You can draw, you can animate, you can do all these things. And I know people freak out about AI, and AI is going to
Ugh.
take away some stuff. And, we can get into a conversation about that another day, but
Yes. I'm
I
not a
always tell
fan.
people, like, don't freak too bad, because at the end of the day, there's always going to need someone to fix the AI. There's always going to need,
Yeah.
um, AI is always going to be black and white, and we need human beings to be the gray.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the AI. We'll have to talk about that one. But I mean, I think that the thing that's important too, like kindness is free. It's free. You don't like something, don't say anything,
Keep scrolling. What a
yeah, literally, and do what brings you joy, honestly, no matter. I think that's a hard concept because working on yourself is the hardest work you'll ever do. But do what brings you joy. And if it's like if you're struggling mentally, physically, any of that thing, just listen to your signs, listen to your body, like, and I think
and
do
reach
do
out. Somebody will be there.
yes,
I know
yes,
you don't. I understand the feeling of not wanting to be a burden. I've been there many times. I
hmm
struggle a lot when telling people when I'm struggling, because I do
yes.
not like the feeling of needing help. I am very overly self-sufficient sometimes.
I think
Um,
that's a learned thing too, though. Do you think?
yeah, 100%. It's just
Yeah,
just do everything yourself, because then it's done right.
yeah.
Um,
Or you don't look so weak because you asked for help, and you were getting pride and praised, and for you're doing all this alone. Oh, you're doing all this by yourself. Okay. But I'm
yeah.
tired. Yeah.
Listen to your body. That's the biggest thing I can say. Listen to your body and your
Yeah,
mind. It will
absolutely.
tell you when things aren't right. Like you said, I developed a migraine disorder. You were having your health struggles. Like your body will sit there and tell you, and it will eventually force you to sit down, whether you
Absolutely.
want to or not.
Absolutely.
So listen before it gets to the point of no return.
Absolutely. There's so many options. I think that we started this by saying, the effects of being overworked and people's opinions about social media and content creating and all those things. But you're gonna have to cut this out because I honestly forgot what I was gonna say. Good thing we're not live. I was gonna try to circle it back around, but now I forgot. So go ahead.
But at the end of the day, guys, we just want to say, like, we want to see how you feel about that. Like, have you struggled with unlearning things from your parents,
There you go.
and
Yeah,
that mentality of being like, oh, I just got to work and work and work and work and work because these bills got to be paid. And I got to do this, and just got to be responsible. I'll go on the trip next year. And
hmm
like you put off these things, and all of a sudden you look back and you're 40 or you're 50 or you what. I think this is where like a midlife crisis comes from. Is like all of a sudden you
yeah.
look back and you haven't done anything,
Oh,
and
that's
or
good.
you've,
Yeah,
so listen to your body, listen to your mind, guys. Tell us in the comments what you think about learned behaviors, and um, is there a middle ground between working too hard and not working at all? Like, we're not saying go be a lazy bum and live in your parents' basement forever, but there are other options now. And if you explore those other options, it does not make you a not responsible working citizen. Like,
absolutely.
not
That's what I was
everyone's got
trying
to
to
work
say, I
at the
think.
coal mining, and not everyone's got to work as a farmer and all this stuff. Like, I absolutely respect those jobs, but it's not for everybody. And
Yeah,
it's okay if you want to explore the other options.
it is absolutely okay to do what brings you joy, and what your body is telling you is not bringing you joy. And I think everything, like I said, it happens for a reason. Um, you noticed a lot. Like you noticed a lot that it taught you. And I think that even so, if your body's telling you, it's like, okay, that's just to give you a minute and it's okay. Like you need that rest, you need that pause, and you're where you are. Like we have to believe that where you're at right now is where you're supposed to be, is working for you regardless. So keep that in mind.
All right, guys. Well, it was great being back with you. We will see you
Yes.
on the next episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Check out our other social medias. We will have them in the description. And let us know what you think of the episode and what else you want us to talk about or how you feel or whatever. Love you
Yeah.
guys. Bye.